Good morning, everybody. My name's Robin. This is me reading stuff. How you doing? What'd you dream about last night? Do you care about golf like I do? The Masters is on. I'm freaking out. Did your dad care about golf? Mine did. That's why I love it. Would you rather live your life on the lake or in Fraser's penthouse in Seattle? If you go to Starbucks, I want to know what your order is. Mine's just a venti Americano. If you go to McDonald's on a road trip, what's your order? Mine? God, I hate admitting this. Chicken nuggets and fries, of course. Tons of fries. Mainly, I just get fries. I once knew these people from Paris, a couple, and one of the guys loved chicken nuggets from McDonald's, but he called them chicken McNuggies. Chicken McNuggies. So I do like calling them that. Just another reminder, everybody, vasectomies are a really good thing. Just a generally wonderful idea / plan. If the female version of it were an easier process, I swear to you, I would have done it the day after I got my first period, back when I was 12 or whatever age that was. Seriously, that was the worst day of my life. I just remember thinking, oh God, my life is over. And it was. I'm just still holding on somehow. And I remember other girls my age when they got their periods being all kind of jazzed up about it. Like, oh, I remember some of their faces when speaking about it, and their faces turned almost heavenly, just very blissed out in this way, in this kind of feminine way that just confused me to no end, and still kind of does. Anyway, I'm just a big fan of vasectomies. I'm like, you remember Bob Barker was always encouraging spaying and neutering your pets? Well, I guess I'm doing it this way. Somebody's got to put an end to all this business. I'm just kidding, by the way. I mean, I'm not really kidding. I'm half kidding. Does that make sense? Again, if you really need to procreate, go for it. If you don't really need to, don't do it. Get a vasectomy. All right, you guys. Today, what am I going to be reading you? Oh, I'm reading you. I just pulled this out last night thinking, how have I not read these guys Pablo Neruda yet? Chilean poet, lived from 1904 to 1973. Of course, he's a Nobel Prize winner. Many people believe he's the greatest poet of the 20th century. And I'm going to be, I'm going to be reading from the book that I have, The Essential Neruda Selected Poems. This is by City Lights Publishers. This is the bilingual edition for those of you that also read in Spanish. Of course, it's always best to read in the native language. I love Neruda, and I think I've held back on reading him to you guys because, I don't know, I think left to my own devices, all I would read are incredibly romantic and sexually passionate and heartbreaking poems, and that's kind of what Neruda is best at. Go read A Song of Despair if you don't know what I'm talking about. So I think I could just do that all day, every day, and I wouldn't want to put you guys through that necessarily, but we've got to touch base with this kind of stuff occasionally. I don't want to read you one of those poems necessarily today, though, so I'm going to be reading a poem called Walking Around. It so happens I am sick of being a man, and it happens that I walk into tailor shops and movie houses dried up, waterproof, like a swan made of felt, steering my way in a water of wombs and ashes. The smell of barbershops make me break into hoarse sobs. The only thing I want is to lie still like stones or wool. The only thing I want is to see no more stores, no gardens, no more goods, no spectacles, no elevators. It so happens that I am sick of my feet and my nails, and my hair, and my shadow. It so happens I am sick of being a man. Still, it would be marvelous to terrify a law clerk with a cut lily, or kill a nun with a blow on the ear. It would be great to go through the streets with a green knife, letting out yells until I died of the cold. I don't want to go on being a root in the dark, insecure, stretched out, shivering with sleep, going on down into the moist guts of the earth, taking in and thinking, eating every day. I don't want so much misery. I don't want to go on as a root and a tomb. Alone under the ground, a warehouse with corpses, half frozen, dying of grief. That's why Monday, when it sees me coming with my convict face, blazes up like gasoline, and it howls on its way like a wounded wheel and leaves tracks full of warm blood leading toward the night. And it pushes me into certain corners, into some moist houses, into hospitals where the bones fly out the window, into shoe shops that smell like vinegar, and certain streets hideous as cracks in the skin. There are sulfur-colored birds and hideous intestines hanging over the doors of houses that I hate. And there are false teeth forgotten in a coffee pot. There are mirrors that ought to have wept from shame and terror. There are umbrellas everywhere, and venoms, and umbilical cords. I stroll along serenely with my eyes, my shoes, my rage, forgetting everything. I walk by, going through office buildings and orthopedic shops, and courtyards with washing hanging from the line, underwear, towels, and shirts from which slow, dirty tears are falling. Don't tempt me to read that to you again, because I will. I want to thank a couple of people for leaving me some reviews on iTunes, and thank you all for subscribing and listening as usual. You know it means a lot to me. I mean that very sincerely. Let's see. I don't know how to say it. Miss Me Limagoo, MSMELIMAGOO, simply says thank you. And I say, simply, you're welcome. And then I've got Glitter Unicorn Turtle Queen Bee, who says they like to draw while listening to me. And thank you. That's a really nice thing. That's how I got into podcasts, because I draw constantly, and I love listening to the radio. I've always listened to the radio while I drew. So podcasts are a necessary component to my studio life now. Yes, I'm doing better. Thank you for asking. I know I kind of freaked out the other day. I was very stressed out. I had a full day in my studio yesterday, so I'm kind of back to center. That's all I need. Show me what you're made of over on Instagram or Twitter. My handle is ROBYN_ONEIL. I've kind of pulled back. I haven't been posting quite as much, especially on Instagram. It's a little hard for me. You know, it's no mystery that I'm an obsessive person. So once I get into something, I'll kind of go nonstop. If you didn't know this about me, I was the Texas female arcade champion for Mortal Kombat when I was in high school. All of my friends back then, all of my guy friends, played at these tournaments at bowling alleys, and I started to get really into Mortal Kombat, the arcade version, and I ended up being female champion. What I'm saying is, especially with video games and TV shows, once I get into something, I kind of can't stop if I like it. So that's why I have no games on my phone, and I will not play a video game.
Are you
because
listening?
I know how I am, and I will continue to play until I win. And I will want to know all the subtleties of it, and I will want to talk about it constantly, and I will want to know the backstories of every character. I mean, I just latch on and can't stop. I should post an image of the pin I won when I became Mortal Kombat champion. I'll do that. How about that? I love you guys. Thank you for listening. Have a good rest of your evening. Have a wonderful weekend. And forgive me if I post too much about the Masters. I happen to believe that golf is poetry in physical form. And I know that you think it's boring. And I know that everyone thinks it's dumb. But guess what? I don't. So forgive me. I'm going to be annoying this weekend because it's hard for me to not post about golf when it's the Masters. So my apologies ahead of time. Again, have a great weekend. I'll talk to you guys on Monday. Goodbye.